very, very planned. She was
Hi
fantastic.
guys, my name is Crystal and welcome to my YouTube channel. If you like my videos, please smash that like button, please do subscribe. I'm at the moment listening to BBC Radio, BBC Radio 4.
Pregnancy was fantastic. My birth was fantastic.
This is Crystal
Completely in love,
speaking about her attempted suicide.
How my husband went back to work and it was me that was responsible for a baby, and that's kind of where, I just fell apart because I don't know, everything that I had in my mind that I'd be in control, we'd do these activities, I'd know what I'm doing. I just felt it wasn't there. Just felt completely out of control, completely lost. Really scared, and it just deteriorated very, very quickly. I didn't want to be on my own with him, so I was like driving around to my dad's house or friend's house just to have somebody for a few hours, that it wasn't just me. In desperation, asking, please let me go in the mother and baby unit, and they did. They admitted me, and I think at that point I was expecting that I would feel better, that it'd all be sorted out quite quickly. And I didn't feel that straight away. I felt just even more kind of isolated, even more scared. And I think the big thing for me was that I couldn't really articulate what was going on in my head, and it wasn't what I expected. So I'd expected depression, or I'd expected even like a manic sort of feeling, but it was just fear. It was just, I can't be a mum, I don't know how to be a mum, I've lost my identity, there's no going back, trapped, exactly what you said was one of the themes. And when I was, sorry, I'll stop talking.
No, carry on.
But yeah, when I was in the mother and baby unit, I was desperate to be out. So I'd be like trying to decide I could go home for weekends with my husband. So you kind of thought, well, I don't want to seem too bad, so they don't let me go home. So and then when I was at home with my husband, I'd be like, I need to be back in the mother and baby unit, and I just felt there was no way out. Nothing. I couldn't see anything getting better. I thought they're never going to let me be a mum. My husband's probably going to see that I'm no good and leave me. I'm never going to be able to go back to work. And that kind of just...
And how did you break that cycle? You say you were on medication post-birth, is that correct? So how did it finally level out?
It's difficult to know. It was a long process. It was a long process, and lots of support from different people. So I've got very fortunate that I've got an amazing close family and friends. A number of medical professionals were involved. Medication was involved. I actually had a really, really supportive return to work. So that's kind of one of the things I'm trying to sort of talk about at the moment, is like workplaces need to be doing more about this, and managers to be aware, because I think, if any one of those relationships or parts of my identity had been taken away from me in that rebuilding phase, I would have probably tried again, and I might have been successful with ending my life. So yeah, I think it was a long process. It did take a long time.
How do you feel now?
Well, I feel like I'm in the best part of my life ever. The bond I have with my little boy is incredible. He's the love of my life. I'm so proud of him, and I don't know how we have the bond that we have, because I wasn't there, at the beginning for a lot of the time. And even when I was there, it was like his dad was his person who looked after him, and I was kind of trying to help a bit. But and now I feel like every other mum, that I see, and yeah. I just, if anyone is listening who can relate to anything of what I said, just please hold on and please talk to somebody, because it does get better.
This is why your research is so important, Abigail, because it's that, isn't it? It's saying almost the unsayable, and people need to hear it, because a lot of people feel it and it's so frightening, but they feel they can't say it.
Yeah, I think it's so important that we're talking about this, and that's why doing interviews and really in depth, it just really kind of brings that experience to life, and Crystal's experiences really kind of match a lot of what we found within the research.
And are you going in depth to find out medically about what's going on with somebody as well, or is it just you're just looking at the kind of psychological impacts, or are the two connected?
So I think our research is really focusing on what can healthcare professionals do, what support and what peer support can be received during that time. There is a lot of research that's going on to look at kind of what factors might be contributing to this, and we know that it needs to kind of be a multi-layered approach. The support from kind of psychologists, but also medication might be important, and we know that women may be likely to stop medication quite abruptly during pregnancy due to kind of fears that might be harmful for them or their baby. So what we would say is if people are experiencing these difficulties, if they're taking medication, that they speak to their GP and they speak to their midwife and really kind of open up about how they're feeling.
And do you think there's enough education amongst health professionals to spot the signs? Because we know that, well, human beings, but women especially, are very good at masking things, and there's so much pressure, isn't there? I can see you nodding your head, Crystal, about how to kind of present. I mean, I remember those days very, very well as a new mother myself. It's just like this whirlwind lands in your life, and you don't know which way to turn. But you know what the expectation is, but you often don't feel like that. Do you think there's enough kind of education amongst us, as I said, health professionals, on spotting people who are looking like they're coping, but they're not really at all?
No, I mean, I'm speaking to a lot of people, it's not just my own experience, but I'm speaking to a lot of people, and I've been really fortunate to attend some peer support. Action on Postpartum Psychosis is an amazing charity that kind of specialises in that kind of quick onset, quite extreme form of mental illness. And the stories that people tell are that it's not being picked up, and that people, the range of symptoms and the range of things that you're thinking or seeing, they're not easy to articulate. And you are really, really scared of the consequences if you do articulate. You don't really know who you can trust, and because we don't talk about these more extreme forms of perinatal mental illness in pregnancy, in your antenatal classes, those kind of things, people just assume the worst, that I'm evil, social services are going to take my baby away if I admit this stuff, or I'm going to get locked up in a psych ward forever. It is those worst case scenarios, because we don't have that narrative. We don't, unless you are aware of these charities, which I wasn't, I certainly wasn't, even though we were expecting me to be poorly.
Could anybody have reached you then at your darkest moment, or just having that knowledge, say that had been in an antenatal class? Look, don't panic. This is a very rare thing, but it can happen. So you're talking to partners and you're talking to the pregnant mother as well. Do you think just knowing that those support groups around could have helped you?
Yeah, I think because I've historically been really supported through various mental health challenges, and have felt comfortable to tell people, and I've never been discriminated against or had a bad consequence. A lot of people have a bad experience when they tell somebody about mental illness. I never have, but it was just, this was so frightening, and it was so different, and it was so that I just assumed I'm just a really, really bad person, a really, really bad mother. And so, I think if there was a lot more awareness and we thought this is, that matches what these people have been saying they felt.
Crystal, just final word to you then. What needs to change going forward?
So I think it's, in part it's the awareness, and particularly awareness of some of the things that we've highlighted in the research, awareness from healthcare professionals about this, but also it's not always possible to recognise these symptoms in yourself. So if your family or friends are noticing that you're kind of disengaging from motherhood, that you're kind of isolating yourself, that might be a warning sign for getting more help, and it's okay to talk about these things.
Oh, I should ask, your son, how old is he now, Crystal?
5.5, maybe going on to 6.
Wow, what's his name?
William.
Listen, your story is incredible, you're incredible, and we thank you so much for coming on to Woman's Hour and sharing it with us, because you will have made a massive difference to many people listening to this. So thank you so much. We really, really do appreciate you dropping by, both of you. Thank you so much. Crystal Wilkinson and Dr. Abigail Easter. And if you have been affected by anything you've heard in that conversation, there are support links and resources on our website. Thank you both for coming by. Don't forget, you can talk to me about that. You can text the programme 84844. If anything of what we've just discussed rings any bells with you, we would really love to hear your experiences. We've been talking about lack of access to public toilets. There was a woman in Amsterdam who basically got a fine for spending a penny in the street. There was nowhere else to go. There were 3 public toilets for women in Amsterdam, and well, it goes into double figures when you look at the toilets for men. So she basically took on the local authority and won, and now they've made a commitment to supply more public toilets. So what is it like where you are? Di's in North Yorkshire. Hello, Di.
Di's in North Yorkshire, is she? Diana's in North Yorkshire. Good afternoon. Oh, sorry, good morning, everybody. I just, what it was, I was looking for another channel on the radio to listen to other than LBC radio. I switched on to a couple of channels and they were either talking about suicide or ending your life. About 3 or 4 channels all talking about either ending your life, euthanasia, or suicide. So I came across this piece on Woman's Hour, and Crystal and Abigail were talking about perinatal suicide. And I have had the weekend from hell. I really have, and you know, I suffer from depression and anxiety. And when I was 16 years old, because my father was abusing me, I half-heartedly attempted to commit suicide. It's nothing to be taken lightly. It's absolutely the most horrible feeling that, you know, all this stress is so much to take, I can't stand it anymore, right? Fortunately for me, it was a half-hearted attempt. But I am on depression tablets for serious depression, right? Suicide is the last resort for somebody. Their life must be so bloody awful that they feel that's the only resort, that's the only way out, right? Now I've listened to Crystal and Abigail. That was perinatal depression, getting depressed and suicidal after giving birth to a child, right? That's serious. But both of those women on there were getting help and support with they were getting help and support. My doctor's surgery rang on a Saturday afternoon, supposedly to go through my medication, which is depression tablets. I have now got to ring up the surgery to find out what's going on, because if I don't get my depression tablets, I'll get seriously depressed. Right? Now the phone's going. Hello? Yes, that's me.
Hello, my name's Sergeant Ben Rainey from Kent Police. I called you a little bit earlier. I just wanted to see if that was okay, because
Could you repeat what your name is?
Yeah, Sergeant Ben Raby.
Raby.
Yeah, R-A-B-E-Y.
Okay, yes.
You got I'm not doing my force number?
No, that's fine. You carry on.
Oh, okay. No worries. Is it right to call you Crystal or Miss Marshall?
Well, my birth name's Janestra, but you can call me Crystal, yeah.
Janestra. Oh, okay. So I'm just looking at the form you submitted. It hasn't got that. How do you spell that? It's a very nice name.
Yeah, my mum made it up. My mum Jennifer made it up. It's Jenesterrar.
S-T-A-R-A-R-A, did you say?
Jenesterrar.
Oh, yeah, very nice. Well, Miss Marshall, I hope it's okay to call you a little bit earlier than I said on my email.
Yeah, that's fine.
No worries, I appreciate your time. I wanted to just talk through this, the complaint you've made. I've read through it and I've obviously tried to make sort of get as much information as I can, but as I'm sure you can appreciate, it's much easier to speak to you directly rather than it is just to read, you know, the words on a form.
Yeah.
And my understanding is that you'll be satisfied with some contact with the police recently on the 17th of April?
Well, basically, I'm just the police don't do anything at all to help me at all. Whenever I call them, whenever it is. So yes, I am dissatisfied.
Yeah, so I had looked at your record and you know to find out sort of what's been going on, and you know I can see there's quite a lot of reports that you've made to us.
Yeah.
And yeah, primarily I have seen that none of those have really been progressed, and I understand that sort of the basis of what you're dissatisfied with.
It's throughout, it's whenever. I mean, I suffered domestic violence at my old flat, no one did anything. I mean, it's just it's continuation. I think I'm being just just left for some reason.
Oh, okay. I'm really sorry that's how you feel. What's your previous address? Start completely up front. And I'm struggling to locate sort of a call that's on our system which relates to that date you were talking about on the 17th of April. So I was trying to find that and I can't find anything. So can I take your addresses that you have stayed at? That might help me.
Right, have you got this one?
Go on.
This is flat 57 Corey's Road.
Yeah, I've got that one. That's ME1 1GW.
Yeah.
You